This father and son are kicking back on the new piece of land they just bought in South Florida. And we mean piece of land.
Howdy, neighbors.
Kerville Holness and his son Kerville Jr. thought they got the deal of a lifetime, paying $9,100 in an online auction for a home valued at $177,000.
Ooh, that is a good deal.
But you know what they say about deals too good to be true. The father and son team thought they were bidding on this property right here, when in fact what they ended up buying was a sliver of land about this wide.
How is that legal?
Goes through the garage,
What?
100 feet to the backyard. That's right. They didn't buy this 3-foot wide patch of green. They bought this, a strip less than an inch in width. It runs right through the house all the way to the back.
What?
They feel duped because they say the real estate auction showed the villa, not the strip of land.
Why would you even sell that? Well, obviously to scam.
Don't make me call it Inside Edition.
Their new neighbors can't quite believe it. What do you think about this?
I think it's ridiculous. I think it's just, I don't even know how they even got to sell the land in the first place.
So how could this happen? The county claims the father and son didn't read the fine print carefully. They say it clearly shows the land value being $50 with a building value of 0.
What?
In the county, right? Mm-hmm. All right. They're trying to say that this red strip right here is what was shown.
Wasn't shown.
You should have known.
Wasn't shown.
So wait, then by that logic, right? They're completely entitled to be in this house along this red line, right? So they can literally just live with whoever lives here, right? What?
You would never guess in a million, or should we say 27 billion years, that this bicycle repairman is the long-lost biological father of Jeff Bezos.
What?
Amazon.com, the man who changed the way we shop. Look at 69-year-old Ted Jorgensen side by side with Bezos. They even share the same laugh. Until recently, Jorgensen had never even heard of Amazon. He doesn't even use a computer. Jorgensen says he still remembers the very last time he saw his son.
I was working in a Walmart, and I remember them coming to visit me for some reason. And it was cold, and he had his little winter coat on, and I just remember him walking down the aisle coming to see me.
Jeff Bezos' mother, Jackie, and Jorgensen were teenagers when they got married in 1963. Back then, Jorgensen was a...
Nah, I don't believe this.
Their son, Jeff, was born in 1964. After the marriage broke up, Jorgensen gave up custody. Jackie remarried Mike Bezos, who adopted Jeff and raised him as his own.
Have you ever regretted that decision?
Big mistake. But at the time, I thought it was the best.
Aren't you like remarried? You're just gonna say big mistake in front of your new wife?
For the next 40 years.
Ted Jorgensen was working in his bike shop here in Phoenix, Arizona, when a biographer writing a book about Jeff Bezos came in with news that would change Ted's life forever. When the writer came in and told you that your son was Jeff Bezos, what was your reaction?
He asked me if I knew who Jeff Bezos was.
And what did you say?
I said, no, the name kind of sounds familiar, but I don't know.
Jorgensen lives in this modest house in a middle-class Phoenix suburb, a far cry from Bezos' lakefront mansion in Seattle. Forbes magazine lists Bezos as America's 12th richest man, worth $27 billion.
27 billion with a B.
Jorgensen's second wife of 26 years, Linda, says because Bezos is so rich and powerful, contacting him is difficult.
Because of who Jeff is, I think it's...
Can we did a DNA test? This seems like some bullshit.
Been there had he been a garbage collector.
Bezos has made only one comment about his biological father. I've never met him. The only time I ever think about it is when a doctor asks me to fill out a form. Jorgensen is battling emphysema. He says he wants to see his son one last time before he dies. He says he doesn't want a penny from his son and just wants to apologize for what he calls the biggest mistake of his life.
What would you say to him?
I just would like to tell him I used to change your diapers, you know. And just see him, you know, shake his hand and tell him that he's really done a good job with his life.
Yeah. He's done a pretty good job. Oh, fuck. I already know the answer, but I'll ask anyway. Did Jeff ever even meet him? I already know he didn't. He probably spit on his grave. This doesn't sound very crazy.
The historic storms that swept across the USA this year left houses and cars underwater. Actually, thousands of cars washed away and flooded. This is one of those vehicles caught up in Hurricane Ida in this South Orange, New Jersey parking lot in September. And we're about to open its doors for the first time since the storm.
Let's check it out.
Oh my God.
So gross.
It's pretty good.
Everywhere. This is pretty gross.
Yeah, it is.
Undrivable.
It's undrivable, won't start, should just be junk for parts.
Junk indeed. And yet,
Experts warn after every major flood, thousands of vehicles like this one are cleaned up and resold to unsuspecting buyers.
Oh,
that's
get
what
fucked.
Joyce Darden says happened to her used car.
Thanks,
She
Reese and
says she
Yoba
bought
King.
it from Enterprise Car Sales for $17,000. Now every
Enterprise
morning, the
will pick you
80-year-old
up and
suits
fuck
up.
you.
No, it has nothing to do with COVID. Joyce says her car is actually making her sick. Houston auto appraiser Roy Bent inspected the car, and within minutes, he spotted what he says is proof of mold and water damage.
That's rust.
Wow. That's a lot of rust.
That is a telltale sign that the vehicle's been involved in a flood.
He says another dead giveaway, it's a flood car.
Seeing sand in your engine, you should not have any sand in here. Do you see that?
Yeah.
He says the car's electrical components are also compromised, including the airbag. Joyce says her doctors believe her headaches, earaches, and sinus infection were triggered by severe mold exposure.
Yeah, that sounds about right here.
Steps on the floor and runs the AC. She's just breathing it.
Mold expert Hansel O'Halloran says he found
His name is Han Solo?
levels of toxic mold in the carpets of her vehicle.
This should never happen to anybody.
Experts say there are nearly 400,000 flood-damaged vehicles on the road today.
Enterprise tells us there was no record of water damage to the car before they sold it and that they stand by the sale. They also say they offered to inspect the car and buy it back. And how can you tell if you've got a flood car? Well, come to our website, InsideEdition.com, for some tips on.
How can you tell if you have a flood car? If you're literally getting sick driving it? Does it smell like mold? I think it's a prime death, dude.